Good morning, councillors, staff and Logan residents. First up, I'd like to acknowledge country. So I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land we gather on today. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, traditions, culture and hopes of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people across the nation. I extend my respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today and recognising their continuing connection to land, waters and community. I acknowledge their history of wisdom, resilience and survival, and respectfully thank them for their contribution to the life of this city and the region. So welcome to the Ordinary Council meeting of the 22nd of March 2023. I declare this meeting open at 10 a.m. I would like to advise meeting attendees that this meeting is being webcast and audio recorded. First up, we have the reflection. Can the gallery please be upstanding if you're able to, and join me in a moment of contemplation. Our story as one of the fastest growing cities in southeast Queensland is not new. With continued growth comes many challenges, including the need for more health services in the city. Far too long, Logan residents have had no other option than to travel to Brisbane or the Gold Coast. That is why on Friday I was happy to join our local state and federal members for the sod turning for the Meadowbrook Health Centre. This facility is a game changer for the city. Not only will the Meadowbrook Health Centre be the first purpose-built public-private health facility in Queensland, but it will also facilitate a new specialist care centre which will ease pressure on Logan Hospital's emergency department. I want to acknowledge the Federal Treasurer and Member for Rankin, Jim Chalmers, who was instrumental in making sure the people of Logan have access to high-quality health care. As a city, this representation at the federal level means we have someone who is looking after the best interests of our city. The Meadowbrook Health Hub will complement the Springwood Health Hub undertaken by Rogers Corp, as you know, is under construction right now. I want to thank Council's Economic Development team for helping to pave the way for developments such as these. Supporting our growing city with quality health services is something I am passionate about. And I look forward to the day when Logan residents no longer have to travel outside of the city to seek specialist medical appointments. Thank you. Okay, we have no leave of absence to record, so we'll get straight into the condolences. I'll now refer to condolences. Do any councillors have a condolence to raise? I will start at Councillor Lane.
Thanks very much, Mr Mayor, and please bear with me if I get a bit sooky. I rise to ask for condolences to be offered to Ken Mackay and the family of Robin Mackay. Robin was a naughty minx who was part of the Mission Possible volunteers crew, operating first from a house that's just being demolished on Jacaranda Court and then from the council facility at 51 Jacaranda Avenue. The loss of their friend is profound, and as they work through her workstation, they find little Robin quirks of putting items inside a bag, inside another bag, inside a sealed bag and tied up in a cloth bag. Each find is a new adventure and allows them to grieve with laughter and fond remembrances. Robin's contribution to our community was immense, from organising specialised sewing for our nursing homes and hospitals to liaising with emerging groups on area of need. Her work was never quite done at the end of the day. In a Channel 10 special on how wonderful Mission Possible volunteers are, Robin stole the show with some sassy commentary and had reporter Mark Sulo absolutely fascinated listening to her mutter away in the corner with random giggles in between. She was a traveller, a collector of Fabergé eggs and loved trying new experiences. From the top of the Eiffel Tower in the wilds of Europe, Robin lived her life to the fullest. But it was her family that was her true passion. Robin and Ken raised two wonderful girls, Judy and Kim, and a son, Mark. She is survived by 12 grandchildren and 18 great-grandchildren. She also leaves behind some very dear friends who I met with last week to farewell and celebrate her life. Meeting two of her great-grandchildren was a highlight of that event. Rest in peace, old friend.
That will be passed on. Councillor Owen? No. Councillor Hall? Councillor Stamp.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to request that condolences be forwarded to Rose Clinkett on the passing of husband Terry. Terry will be remembered for his passion and commitment to the local community, for his time he gave to others and for his many bright shirts. One of the founding members of the Probus Club of Cornubia more than 16 years ago, he was a cub leader at Rochdale Scout Group, held the role of secretary on the Logandale Residents Board for the past 5 years, and was a member of the Rotary Club of Logan, where him and his wife Rose were actively involved in the Rotary Student Exchange program over many years. Much loved husband, father, poppy, brother, uncle and friend to many, Terry will be sadly missed.
Thank you. No, that's all. Okay. Thank you. I now may ask you to stand for a moment of reflection and honour those who have gone and those support who have been left behind. Thank you, councillors. You may be seated. I'll now open the floor for congratulation requests. Do any councillors have any? I'll start at Councillor Bradley. Councillor Lane.
I love chatting in council, Mr Mayor. Thank you so much. I want to do a congratulations to Council's Economic and Development branch and our events branch. On the weekend we had a wonderful event called Taste of Croydon last Saturday evening. The event was to showcase what we can do with some spending in the area, the right lighting and some absolutely fabulous entertainment to create a nighttime economy. Many thanks to Ella and Mel from ED&S and Bella and her team from events. Despite 37-degree heat, they all managed to not only do the setup of the event all day, but then they just got changed into their pink tops and warmly welcomed everyone as they came in. I wanted to express my sincere thanks to that team and also do a big shout out to the entertainers, including the African Māori Dance and Drumming Group, the Kashan Dance Group, the Heilani School of Dance, the New Knuckle Yagara Dance Group, and the ukulele players from our Pacifica community. Mr Mayor, that event actually highlights what good investment in the local area can do, and it showcases what nice things we can have in Division 2. So thank you very much. Director, if you could please pass that along to your staff from both areas, that'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Carranza.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, could I please ask that congratulations be forwarded to Brian and Margaret Doherty of Palm Lake, Waterford. Mr and Mrs Doherty are celebrating their diamond anniversary, which commemorates 60 years of giving, loyalty, love and happiness. I think that's an inspiring thing to celebrate in this time. And please pass our warmest regards on from you, from me and from the whole of Council. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
That will be done. Councillor Hiramoa.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I rise today to say thank you to the residents of Carver's Reach who organised a community event for Clean Up Australia Day on the 6th of March. Parks are to bring us together, and that's what the Clean Up Australia Day event did for the residents of Carver's Reach. Carver's Park was left even more beautiful and clean because of the team's efforts earlier this month. A special shout out to 5-year-old Atticus for hosting the event. Thank you to also the 24 volunteers who gave up their day to make our community even better. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Any further congratulations? Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you. Firstly, I do have to apologise. Last month I gave a congratulations to a 30-year wedding anniversary to David and Vicky. I accidentally said the wrong surname. So congratulations again to David and Vicky Parkinson for celebrating their 30th wedding anniversary. I'm so sorry that I accidentally said the wrong surname, but congratulations. I ran into them at the coffee shop and I did not tell them specifically that I'd actually done the congratulations, and he must have gone searching for it. So congratulations once again. But I do have another one. In February, Greenbank girl Leela Alexander competed for the Met West team at the Queensland School Sport Triathlon Championship in Hervey Bay, and she came 5th in her age group out of 89 competitors in Queensland, which meant she could actually go and compete at the Australian School Sport Triathlon recently in March in Devonport, Tasmania. So on March 15th, Leela competed in her triathlon where the water temperature was just a little cool at 17 degrees. So her coach made the executive decision that the athletes were not to wear wetsuits. Now, if any of us have ever done an open water swim, 20 degrees means, you know, it's optional for wetsuits, and normally under 20 degrees, you're actually wearing a wetsuit. Her coach made the decision that the athletes were not to wear wetsuits that morning, and it paid off in dividends for them. So the core temperature can drop and it literally takes your breath away and is really, really cold. But Leela excelled in her 300 swim, 10K ride, 2K run in a blistering time of 32 minutes at the national event. What a terrific achievement, which meant she actually came second out of all of the competitors in her age group. The next day, she then competed in the teams event and also picked up another silver. So congratulations to Leela. I'm sad to say there's actually no pathway for these athletes at such a young age in doing triathlons. So there's no way for her to make junior worlds or anything like that through this avenue. But I do think we should keep our eye on Leela Alexander for the 2032 Olympics coming up. She's only 13 or 14. So keep your eye on her. Well done, Leela, and I can't wait to say congratulations. She's a former Gators swimmer and a former squad swimmer. So I know the family well, and best of luck to her and her younger brother, who's also competing in aquathlons at the moment as well. So good luck.
Okay, that'll be done. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I have two today. Firstly, I would like to take a moment to recognise Beenleigh Yatala Chamber of Commerce for their successful 26th Prawn Day event that was held on the 10th of March. 6 of my fellow councillors, along with 530 plus people, attended. It was a fantastic event, celebrated the diversity and vibrancy of our business community in the region. The Prawn Day is an important event that not only provides a platform for the local business network, but it also brings the community together to celebrate and support one another. It is clear there's a lot of hard work and dedication and planning made for this event to be successful. I would also like to acknowledge the President, Kerry Saverin, and the entire Chamber team, as well as the outstanding work of the Beenleigh High School and the Windaroo Valley High School students who supported the Beenleigh Events Centre Council staff in providing the hospitality and assistance throughout the event. Mr Mayor, the second one would be that I'd like to congratulate Rotary Club of Beenleigh on their 70th celebration held at the Beenleigh Lifestyle Centre. It was a wonderful night of celebration, and the decades of volunteer service and special projects that the club have accomplished, and we are truly grateful for their immense contribution to our community. Special mention to John Rolmaney and Janae Hong for their inspiring speeches and reflecting on some of the work that the club has achieved over the years. This selflessness and dedication and commitment by the Rotary Club of Beenleigh has helped build a strong and resilient community. Congratulations to everybody that took part of this remarkable journey. The entertainment was provided by a Grumpy Old Men band, and we danced the night away, and the event was made more special. It was great to catch up with everybody, with old friends and sharing stories. Again, congratulations to Rotary Club of Beenleigh, and thank you for your invaluable contributions to the community.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. That will be done. Okay. I now refer to the minutes of the previous ordinary council meeting. I move that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 22nd of February 2023 be confirmed. Is there a seconder? Councillor Wilcox has seconded the motion. I now open the floor to vote. Oh, hang on. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? I wouldn't imagine so, being the minutes, but I'll give you that opportunity. No. Okay, so now open the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has not been carried unanimously. Councillor Bradley, how do you vote?
Mr Mayor, I was not at that meeting, so I can't confirm the minutes. So I will be abstaining. Thank you.
You abstain against the minutes of the meeting. Okay, all right, that's your prerogative. Okay, so that motion has been carried, and that will be recorded. Okay, declarations of interest. I now refer to declarations of conflicts of interest. Do any councillors wish to declare any new conflicts of interest against any of items on today's agenda, including any conflicts which have subsequently arisen from matters discussed at committee? No? Okay, there being none, I now refer to the next agenda item, and that's we have no business arising from the minutes to consider, so we'll go straight into the committee recommendations. I now refer to the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee held on the 14th of March 2023. Councillor Raven, Chairperson of the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. It was a great committee with fantastic debate, and I want to thank councillors for the approach that they brought to the debate, particularly around Invest Logan, asking great questions and discussing something that is very important to the future of the city, and they did so. They conducted themselves professionally and were well prepared, for which I was grateful. But the fun part of this meeting was actually a report that came out of general business from Councillor Heremiah, which is, I feel, really valuable for the councillors who are here for their first term, which was how council uses the environmental offsets we receive from developers to restore and protect the environment of the city for future generations. And it's something that you'll remember, Mr Mayor, as will Councillor Bradley and Councillor Karansky, that last term was very challenging for this council. And we finally found a way to do it in an evidence-based approach that benefited the environment. And it was really good to just remember how we got to that place and why we got to that place, and whether or not those settings are still appropriate for the city, and if we want to tweak them to make them even better in the future. That's all I've got, Mr Mayor. I'll yield the floor to my colleagues.
Thank you. Do any other councillors wish to speak on any of the matters? Councillor Stemp.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to speak briefly to item 5.4, the proposed material change of use for a childcare centre at 5 Montesa Street, Cornubia. Mr Mayor, my community raised concerns with me over the location of this proposed development when it first appeared on PD Hub, with community social media pages erupting and many residents asking me how they could provide feedback. Council received 29 objections to the development from the community, with the objections relating to the residential character, lack of need, and in particular concerns about traffic and amenity impacts. Council officers considered these concerns raised by the community and balanced these against the existing development in the area versus development potential for the site. I want to thank all the residents who took time to provide their feedback through the formal submissions process. As a result of this, with the support of my fellow councillors, the proposed childcare centre at 5 Montesa Street, Cornubia, has been refused. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Stemp. Any other councillors? No. I'll hand it back to you, Councillor Raven.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I now move that 1, the minutes of the City Planning, Economic Development Environment Committee meeting held on the 14th of March be confirmed, and that 2, the recommendations of the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee meeting held on the 14th of March be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Raven. Councillor Raven has moved the motion. Do I have a seconder to the motion? Councillor Stemp has seconded the motion. Anyone wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Murphy.
Yes, Mr Mayor, I'd just like to note that I'm against item 5.5. That's
We will allow for that after the vote.
Sorry.
Don't worry. If you wanted to change any of the motions, that would be the time. Okay, so we have a seconder. Anyone wish to speak to the motion? No. I'll now put it to the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried unanimously. Now, does any councillor wish to record their name against any particular item? And I'll start with Councillor Bradley.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Can I please abstain from 5.5?
That will be recorded. Councillor Lane.
Against 5.5, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Raven.
Against 5.5, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Stemp.
I will abstain from item 5.5, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Wilcox.
I was against 5.5, 8.1 and 8.2.
Three of them, okay. And Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Sorry for getting ahead of the game there. So against 5.5.
Okay, thank you, councillors. That finishes that committee. We'll now go into the City Infrastructure Committee and now refer to the City Infrastructure Committee meeting held on the 14th of March 2023. Councillor Lane, Chairperson of the City Infrastructure Committee, you may proceed.
You just keep calling it the City Infrastructure. It's the mighty City Infrastructure Committee meeting, Mr Mayor. I now refer to the City Infrastructure Committee meeting on the 14th of March 2023. There was no engagements, no reports and no general business. It was a great meeting. I'll yield my time.
Can I just say this, that it was good because the other committees had plenty of discussions, so it wasn't missed really. So it was a good time to have a duck. But thank you. So councillors, there's nothing really to discuss, so I probably won't ask you whether you want to discuss this or not. So I'll hand it back to you, Councillor Lane, to move the motion.
Thank you very much, Mr Mayor. I move that the minutes of the City Infrastructure Committee meeting held on the 14th of March 2023 be confirmed and that the recommendations of the City Infrastructure Committee meeting held on the 14th of March 2023 be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Fraser has seconded the motion. Anyone wish to speak to the motion? No. I now put it to the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried unanimously. I wonder why. Okay, City Lifestyle. Now refer to the City Lifestyle Committee meeting held on the 15th of March 2023. Councillor Karansky, Chairperson of the City Lifestyle Committee, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. In a lengthy and lively City Lifestyle Committee last week, councillors considered 4 reports, the first being the draft concept plan for the Bishop Street Park area. The concept plan was developed by council officers to outline for council both a short and long-term vision for the site. It was evident from the debate that the council is passionate about being responsible and delivering great outcomes for the community both now and into the future. I'd like to acknowledge the Divisional 12 Councillor, Councillor Karen Murphy, for her dedication to the project and my fellow councillors for their diligent consideration of what was a difficult matter. Councillors were presented with the Disability Action Plan for 2023 to 2025 and following public consultation through the December to February months this was presented. The Disability Action Plan has been developed in consultation with the staff and with our community. This is the 3rd iteration of the plan and fulfils our state and federal legislative obligations while demonstrating our commitment to creating an all abilities, inclusive, accessive and welcoming city. Logan City Council strongly supports and encourages animal ownership in the community, and councillors supported the endorsement of our new animal management plan that, through the delivery of a range of initiatives over a 3-year period, paves the way toward growing responsible pet ownership to help shape a safer and more livable city. And the final report received, I'm sure you'll all remember, during the City Lifestyle Committee, related to making minor amendments to Subordinate Local Law 9.2, election signage. I'd like to thank our fellow councillors for their robust debate and consideration of this matter. Details regarding the next steps in progressing the agreed amendment for this local law will be shared in due course. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Karansky. Any other councillors wish to discuss any of the topics there? Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I just would like to note item 5.1, the Bishop Street precinct. I just wanted to say that I'm very proud to have advocated on behalf of my local community.
Councillor Murphy, could you just switch your mic on?
Sorry about that. I'm very proud to have advocated on behalf of my local community and achieved the results of keeping the beach entry pool. Stage 1 plans will start soon as possible and work will be completed hopefully before the next swimming season. I've also been in contact with our community stakeholders and will continue to work with them throughout this process. Thank you to the council staff for the many hours that you've put in and have helped with this project, and thank you to my fellow councillors and the Mayor for your support on this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Councillor Raven.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and I'd like to thank the Chair for how well she managed the election signage debate. It's always a challenging one because everybody has different opinions on what is a good amount of signage and what is not, and we rotated through a number of different options, and that's what you want to see in council is great debate because that's how you know we're making good decisions. I just wanted to, I ended up voting for the minor changes that we did make, Mr Mayor, restricting election signs being put up to 60 days before election day and having to be removed 7 days afterwards. But I would have loved to have gone further so that we didn't have election signage in public places on our footpaths at all, just due to the amenity and safety issues that it presents. I know that's challenging legally to do and the staff did investigate it, but it would have been great, I think, in the community's interest just to go that one bit further and make sure that if you were going to display a sign, it was going to be on private property, so you had the support of the community to display it proudly. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Raven. As you know, if it was up to me regarding signs, I would probably abolish them, but anyway. Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you. More of a minor amendment to 7.1. In the final vote, it actually has that I voted against it and Councillor Stemp was for it. It's actually the reverse. I was for it and Councillor Stemp was against it. If we can just amend that before we vote, that would be lovely. And I do commend everyone on their robust debate on the election signage as well, and commend that we actually got to a timeline for 60 days before, 7 days after for the visual amenity and safety for our residents. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right, Councillor Karansky, back to you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I now move that the minutes of the City Lifestyle Committee meeting held on the 15th of March be confirmed and that the recommendations of the City Lifestyle Committee held on the 15th of March be adopted.
Thank you. Councillor Hall, the second of the motion. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? No. I now put the matter before the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried unanimously. I'll now ask councillors if they'd like to record their name against any particular items in that report. Councillor Bradley.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Can I abstain from 5.1 and strongly against 5.4? I would have liked to have gone further like you.
Thank you. That will be recorded. Any other councillors? Councillor Lane.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I was against M5.4.
Councillor Russell.
Also against 5.4, Mr Mayor.
Okay. Councillor Raven.
Against 7.1, Mr Mayor.
7.1. Councillor Hermeyer.
Abstain on 5.1 and against 5.4, Mr Mayor.
And is that your hand up, Councillor Hall?
Yeah, I believe I was against 5.4.
As you can see, it was quite a robust committee. Okay, that's it. Councillors, any more? No? We'll move on. Thank you. I now refer to the City Governance Committee meeting held on the 15th of March 2023. But before proceeding, before speaking to the recommendations, we will need to pass a motion to table the PowerPoint presentation which was presented to councillors in relation to confidential item 5.8 of the City Governance Committee meeting held on the 15th of March 2023. The motion is now displayed up on the screen. As this is a procedural motion, we only require a mover to move the motion. I will move the motion. I will now open the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried unanimously. Therefore, the motion has been carried. Thank you, councillors. We'll now go back to Councillor Murphy, Chairperson of the City Governance Committee. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I would like to note that item 5.4 of the City Governance meeting will be addressed later in today's agenda and separated from the bulk of the adoptions of the recommendation. I'd also like to note that Governance had another busy round with lots of debate happening and we're looking towards the budget. I will now hand it back to you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Any other councillors wish to discuss any of the items in that part of the report? No? I'll hand it back to you, Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I now move, number one, that the minutes of the City Governance Committee meeting held on the 15th of March 2023 be confirmed, and two, that the recommendations of the City Governance Committee meeting held on the 15th of March, with the exception of item 5.4, be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Do I have a seconder to the motion? Councillor Raven, second the motion. Anyone wish to speak to the motion? No? Okay, I'll put the matter to the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried unanimously. Therefore, the motion has been carried. Now, Do any councillors wish to record their name against any particular items in that section of the committee except for 5.4? Councillor Bradley, you may go.
Thank you. Against 5.8, thank you.
5.8. Councillor Kransky.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Against 5.8.
Councillor Hermeyer.
Against 5.8, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Wilcox.
I was absent for 5.8.
Sorry?
I was absent for 5.8.
Okay. And I will also record, if you remember, I abstained, but I wish to record my reasoning for it because I don't want the wrong message to get out. I abstained, not for the innovation component, but the possibility of a need of another board, which I don't think would be a great idea. But I just want that recorded in the minutes because I don't want it to be seen that I'm against innovation. Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Since the committee last week, Councillor Lane has... Are we going on with the infrastructure? Sorry. Councillor Lane has received a request for funding to buy a new pump that runs the field sprinklers at Logan Brothers Rugby League Club. Due to this urgent nature of the request, we would like to propose an amendment to the recommendations of the City Governance Committee on the 15th of March to include this Division 2 LIP project.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Does anyone wish to speak to that? Councillor Lane.
Thanks, Mr Mayor, and thanks very much to Francis, Jason and the team for actually getting this up so quickly. When we had the change to the policy that local infrastructure program funds come through General Council, it would have meant a 1-month delay, and the officers acted really quickly, so I'd just like to say a big thanks to that. The reason why it was needed so quickly, a pump runs the sprinklers. Sprinklers keep the grounds moist. Without it, they'd be playing on concrete. So thanks very much, everybody.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Anyone wish to discuss that? I wouldn't imagine so. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you. Is there a mover for that motion, Mr? I'll move that motion.
Councillor Murphy, you're going to move 5.4?
Yes.
Okay, so Councillor Murphy has moved 5.4. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? Sorry, does anyone wish to second the motion? Councillor Lane has seconded the motion. Anyone wish to speak to the motion? No? I'll put that matter to the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has not been carried unanimously. So, Councillor Hermeyer, how do you vote?
Abstain.
Councillor Hermeyer is the only one that abstained. That will be recorded. Thank you. That finishes the committee meetings for today. We have no council reports to consider. We have no late reports to consider. However, we have, in regard to the petitions, as you know, you can either present a petition or discuss a petition if it hasn't been put together correctly, which I think is in this case. Councillor Murphy, do you want to discuss your petition?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Council has received a petition from Eagleby Together today, and the head petitioners are Auntie Robin and Uncle Pete from Logan Together. Council has deemed this petition invalid and it does not comply with the Logan City guidelines. However, I did want to acknowledge the work of this group because there's 1,000+ signatures on this petition to save the Eagleby pool, which has been passed here today. So thank you for your support from the community. We've got the job done and hopefully we'll have an outcome by the summer. Thank you.
Councillor Murphy, just for the public interest, that is a very big petition. Can you explain why that wasn't correct?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Under the guidelines, it has to be on the appropriate forms, and unfortunately this hasn't been filled in correctly. So although we've received it and I've acknowledged it today, unfortunately it is invalid in the eyes of our policy. Thank you.
It's a bit disappointing that such a big petition, and I think we need to educate our public to obviously be prepared if they're going to spend a lot of time on these petitions to have it correctly made. So I would suggest the councillors, when you hear about a petition being made, please indicate to them how to do it correctly. Bit of a disappointment. Okay, consideration of notified motions. We have no... Yep. Oh, you've got a petition as well. I'm sorry. wasn't aware of that one.
I put my hand up. That's
Thank you,
okay.
Councillor Lane.
Mr Mayor, a petition was received with 17 valid signatures. I would like to move to receive the petition and ask the relevant manager to write to the principal petitioner advising them of opportunities to access portaloos for community events in Bega Park.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Councillor Lane has moved the recommendation up on the board. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Raven has seconded the motion. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried. Thank you. Okay. We have no notified motions to consider. So general business today, we are starting at Councillor Bannon. Councillor Bannon, do you have any general business? You're very happy. Okay. Councillor Stemp. Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. In the past week, I've been attending some P&C meetings. I'm finding that all the P&C meetings are having their AGMs of recent late, and thankfully, in geographically the largest division, I actually only have 4 schools. Geographically, it's the largest. But I would like to thank each and every one of our schools in Logan, their P&Cs, their P&Fs, for what they do in our school community. On Saturday night, I attended a bingo fundraiser held at Greenbank State School, and it was fantastic. There was a couple of hundred people there celebrating and attending the night, and they weren't just from Greenbank, they were from Flagstone, they were from Boronia Heights. They came from everywhere to attend this. It was a sold out event, and it was fantastic. The week before I attended their AGM, I attended the Flagstone State Community College AGM last night. I've got another one on Thursday. I couldn't attend the Everleigh one because it clashed with another one, but you know, these groups, these executive committees do absolutely wonderful things for our students and our schools. And I'd just like to say congratulations to them. Thank you for all of your hard work. Thank you for the outgoing executives. Thank you for the incoming executives doing all of their hard work across Logan and in Division 11. So thank you to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wilcox. Councillor Murphy. Councillor Bradley. Councillor Lane.
Thanks very much, Mr Mayor. I've got 2. The first one is a quick thank you. Arnie Di Andrews was in charge of Council's RAP, and Arnie Di is leaving Council, and she will be sorely missed. She's done amazing work with all of the councillors, the council officers, the Logan elders, Burraganya, Murraganya, Burraga, Burrangilly. She's actually brought our community together in many respects by actually organising things from a council level and supporting those groups to actually get better outcomes in the community. And those groups are hard-working groups. But Arnie Di worked a massive amount of hours. I mean, she was absolutely wonderful. She encouraged us. She sort of coaxed us along a little bit in some areas, but she was absolutely fantastic, and she will be missed in Council, Mr Mayor. So I'd like to say a big thank you to Arnie Di Andrews and say good luck in the future. The second one is the Hazara community in my local area is actually feeling a lot of pain at the moment. The stats are back around the number of deaths involved in educational killings in Afghanistan, and last year there were 700 to 800 killings of young people in educational facilities. That's young women trying to get an education, and the Taliban is very much responsible for that. So our local Hazara community is very much in mourning at different times as they hear about family members who they're losing. And there's such a kind and generous and wonderful giving community group or community section. And I just wanted to say to all the councillors and the community, as you go around in the community, just be aware that there are people who are suffering, who've come here as refugees, who are actually suffering the loss of loved ones because of regimes that are just appalling. Thank you.
Very well put. Councillor Russell, Councillor Karansky, Councillor Raven.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. 2 things. It's the beginning of Ramadan, so that means lots of iftar dinners. So Ramadan Mubarak to our Muslim friends in the community. I'll be down with Jamal from the Logan Mosque tonight doing my first iftar dinner, so that'll be fantastic. But what I'd like to speak to at length, Mr Mayor, is some congratulations for a staff member that I neglected to mention during committee. Simon Short works in DA. He's an exceptional staff member, but in this particular case, he's gone above and beyond. We had a lady who was not a resident of our city. She was trying to become a resident of our city. She'd purchased a home, and just due to some bad timing with when the flood mapping came in, and she had some challenges with the timing of when she could get her application in. One day she had a dry property, and the next day she didn't. And when they crossed over, it meant that just because she didn't get her paperwork in quick enough, she thought she wouldn't be able to build and she'd have a property that she couldn't sell. And Simon went above and beyond, not just to find a solution for her, but to find a solution for the other properties nearby by helping to identify a place where they could have emergency flood access out the back of their property through council land. When she called me, she said that she was very angry with council, she was very angry with the developer, she was very angry with everybody, but Simon Short made her realise that council cared and wanted to help her with this very difficult situation. So when someone can do something like that, I think they deserve a shout out, because that was, and when I spoke to him, he couldn't have been trying harder if he wanted to. He went out personally on site and had a look. The developer should be given some credit too, because they were happy to do a little bit of earthworks to help make the path traversable and safe for people to use. And so when the business and council comes together in the interest of the community, that's a massive win. And that's something we should be proud of and something we want to celebrate. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Raven. Councillor Hall. Councillor Fraser, Councillor Hermeyer. I'll give you another chance, Councillor Bannon. You got any general business for us? I know it was a bit of a surprise on you there. All right. No worries. Well, look, that concludes today's meeting. We officially finish at 10:40 a.m. Thank you, councillors.